Hey guys, welcome here. In last lecture I showed you directives v-else, v-on, and we also created function yell. In this lecture we'll continue. I will show you one more directive and also we will create here a function to toggle our state of isTextDisplayed variable. So let's start isTextDisplayed function. So I will remove this function actually. Let's remove this yell function and let's create here a new function and let's call it toggle text display. So toggle text display. Perfect. And let's scroll up and let's find here our functionality when we are clicking our button. So here it is. When we are clicking button, we are assigning opposite value of isTextDisplay to isTextDisplay. Okay, so I will copy this and actually I can cut it from here. So I will cut it, Command X or Control X in a Sublime. Alright, I will scroll down and let's go to our function toggle text display and let's paste it here. Okay, so now we are assigning opposite value to isTextDisplayed. So now we can just copy toggle text displayed function name and we can call this function here. So let's find our button. On click, we want to call toggle text display. Just like this, guys. Let's save this. Let's go back to our browsers. Refresh page and let's see what will happen when we'll click hide message. And you can guess actually. So let's click it and you will see hide message and we are getting error. A reference error is text displayed is not defined. So what is actually happening? Let's go back to our coding editors. And it's a referencing error. So let's see. Our Vue JS is looking for is text displayed, but text displayed is not defined in a current context of this function. Because isTextDisplayed is here and it's defined on our Vue instance, we need to access it with this context. So this is text displayed, okay? And this is text displayed opposite value here. So when you are inside of your Vue instance, you always need to access your variables and functions under this context. You don't need to do it in HTML here. In HTML template, this is assigned automatically, but inside of our JavaScript, inside of our functions here, you need to use this word because there is a context of this Vue instance. Okay, so let's save this and let's see what will happen now. Let's go back to our browsers. All right, I will refresh this. It's a refresh, I will clear a console and I will click hide message. And you can see now it's working correctly and it's working as it should be. Perfect. Okay, let's continue and I will show you one more shortcut. Let's go back to our browsers. And instead of writing all the time v-on, so let's see here v-on, we can remove this v-on like this. And we can provide here a @ sign, and this is actually the same, but it is much shorter and it's nicer. So from now on, I will just use @ sign, and to prove it to you, let's go back to our browsers. All right, let's refresh this page, and you will see hide message is doing the same stuff as before. Perfect. Okay, I will show you one more directive. This is very important because this is a loop. Okay, so let's go back to our coding editor. And let's create here some new values. So message, title, message, isTextDisplayed. So under isTextDisplayed, I will create here new field items, and I will assign to this value, and let's assign to here just some numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that should be enough. No? Okay, so we have our items here, and let's display them. So just under hidden message, let's display them. So as I showed you, just interpolation, and this was items like this. Perfect. Let's save this. Let's go back to our browsers. Let's refresh, and now we are displaying this nice array 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But what if I would like to iterate over this and display them separately, because now I'm displaying them together as one array. So what can I do? All right, so let's go back to our coding editors. And I can use Directive for iterations. This one is very important and you'll use it actually a lot. So let's create here new, let's say, we can create a div or h1, it doesn't matter, but we want to iterate which element. In this example, it really doesn't matter. So on this div, I will create a new directive, and this one is called v-4. Perfect, so we have our v4 directive, and we want to iterate over these items. So first, I want to create variable name under which I want to reference single item while I'm iterating this item. So I can choose whatever name I want, but to stay consistent, I will choose item name. So item in items, and that's it. We have our loop. So we are iterating over items, and we will create here iteration. In each iteration, it will display new div. So now I will cut these items from here. Okay, let's cut it, let's remove the spaces, and instead of this div, I will display a single item. So don't forget, we need to interpolate item because this is a variable, and we want to get a text here from item, so item like this. Let's save this, and let's go back to our browsers. Refresh, and now you can see we are displaying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in iteration, and this is a little bit annoying that this is on a side. So what about to provide here some margin to the left? Just very fast, I will wrap everything here inside of a div, so we have more visibility what we are doing. So I will wrap all of this inside of a div. I will create a new class on this div, and let's call it example-wrapper class, and I will provide some stylings to this class. So I will scroll down here, and actually we need to go to index SCSS because there we have a style. So index SCSS, and I will create here is a new class here. So example wrapper, and let's write here margin left, and this will be, let's say, 30 pixels like this. Okay, so let's save this, let's close it, and let's go here. Okay, this is a little bit better. So we are iterating over our items, and we are displaying every single item as a separate element of a div. So I will show it to you. Here we are displaying div 1, div 2, div 3, div 4, div 5, div 6. Okay, so one more time, let's go back to our coding editors. Let's see what we are happening here. So where is our iteration? Let's find it here. V4. So we are iterating our items. I specified 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Each iteration, I am assigning current value of iteration to item variable, and then I am displaying this item variable. These items has to be your array, right? You want to iterate, so this needs to be your items. But this first value here, this first variable here is your optional one. You can choose your optional name actually. So let's write here, for example, doc. And I will reference here doc. It really doesn't matter. It's up to you, but you should stay with the naming that makes sense to you. Now we are referencing doc variable, and we are displaying number, so it doesn't make a sense. You can display here, let's say, number and number here. So yeah, it's up to you guys. What do you want to choose here? I choose number here, or actually I choose here item because this makes sense to me now. Okay, so this iteration over array of some elements, but what if I want to iterate over some object? Okay, so instead of items, I will display here object, and I will do something similar to our goals. So here we have an object, and I want to create here some more values. So this will be another object under a key of 1, and under a key of 2 will be another object, second object. And here will be name. Let's say name will be Philip, and the second one will be name John. So we have our items. This is an object, and here we have two more objects inside. Under a key of 1, we have an object with the name Philip, and under a key of 2, we have an object with the name of John. So let's see what will happen. then I will iterate over these items now. So let's save this, let's go back to our browsers, let's refresh this, and you can see I'm displaying these objects on the screen, name Philip and name John. So I am iterating. First iteration, I am displaying this object here, this name Philip. Second iteration, I'm displaying this name John. So what I need to do in order to display just my name and the name of a John, let's go up here, and we need to access this key on this object. So in order to display name, we need to go under item and name, like this. So we are just following our structure of our object. So in this case, our object has a key name here. So we want to access this name and display this value of Philip and a John second iteration. Okay, save this. Let's go back to our browsers. Let's refresh. And now you can see Philip and a John are on the screen. Alright guys, so that's our directives. We covered the if, the for, the on, and some other ones. That's actually most important ones. And in next lecture we'll continue and we will start working more on our application. As you can see here, we are just hard coding this data here on the screen, reading Harry Potter and learn Vue.js. But we don't want to hard code these values because after all, I provided to you these values here. We have our goals and we want to display these goals on the screen. So now we know how to iterate items. So we can use v-for, we can iterate over these goals, and we can display these values from here. So guys, we will cover this in the next lecture.